ALTBAYS Show is live, brought to you by ALTBAYS.nz. We're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. If you're watching us right now, it's because you are on YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, you can hear this beautiful gentleman laughing, so you are at the right place. Cheers. I just want to say, first of all, what a beautiful community we live in. Coromandel is awesome. If you haven't visited the Coromandel, you should. You're missing out. And if you're from overseas and you're watching this show...
Just give it 2 days before you visit it to clean up from the rain.
Let it dry out a bit.
Let it dry. Give it 2 days.
Don't come to the Coromandel today. Wait for 2 days when it's Monday and everybody's working. And then you can go to the beautiful desert beaches and have the best time of your life. Coromandel is amazing. New Zealand is amazing. If you're watching this show from overseas, which we have a good, solid audience from all the parts of the world, come to visit Aotearoa. Such a welcoming place, such a lovely place. I've been here for 9 years. I couldn't be happier. Some people ask me, what the fuck are you doing in this small town that nothing happens? And I'm like, man, life happens here.
Shit happens.
Shit happens. Mr. Roberts, on my left.
I thought you were going to put all the hit, like, subscribe, all that stuff again.
Can you do that for me, please?
If you're here on YouTube, hit like, subscribe, the little bell at the bottom of this image. If you see that, you like it, you like this stuff, want to share it with your family, please do so. We also have another channel called ALTBAYS Clips, where we shorten our clips to 2, 5, 10 minutes long, a certain snippet or a story. If that's your cup of tea, please do so. If you have even shorter an attention span and you want to be a TikTok user or an Instagram or a Facebook or whatever the hell they call it, one of those shorter things, and that's your life in swiping mode, then join us there and like, subscribe, hit the buttons that make these guys happy with likes and views and maybe someday ultimately some money.
Maybe.
But yeah, did I do it right? Oh, and we are also a podcast. We're on the audio platforms. We're on Apple Music. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. And iHeartRadio and all that other stuff. Podcast addict.
You're pretty good.
I probably could, if I cared more, I'd probably put more effort in, but that's all right.
That's all right. And we just hit 1,500 followers on Facebook, which is pretty cool.
Rock and roll.
Pretty solid. Yeah, 500 followers on Instagram, and I think almost 8,000 followers on TikTok. That Madhouse, amazing place.
So how many bots is what I want to know.
How many what?
How many bots? How many of them are fake users?
So that's the thing. I don't know, but TikTok, it's mainly an overseas crowd. I can see that there's a lot of, well, it's kind of 50-50. So we have 50% New Zealanders and Australians and 50% mainly from America. There's a lot of other countries, but like it's mainly that, which is interesting. I didn't know that we would attract so many Americans to watch our clips. Facebook, it's beautiful how many New Zealanders, how many Kiwis we have, which is awesome. We had cool clips from Andrew Barber. He was telling us about there's no S in Te Reo Māori. There's no plural. You don't say S. And that video kicked off. A lot of people enjoyed that clip. And a lot of people shared that clip, which is very good for us. So if you like our content, feel free to share. Because if you do that, more people get to see and get to know who we are. And that's how we're going to grow, Mr. Roberts.
It's interesting you say that, because I have a book that I received from my sister that they order online. They put your child's name, gender, and a bit of a description, and they put that imprint on a book that's almost ready-made. And it generally works that, one cool Kiwi called Bonnie, and then there's 2 Pukeko, and there's 3 da-da-da, and eventually you stack and there's all these characters and storylines. But they have 2 Pukekos, and I'm going, you see, even I picked up on how it sounded odd to pronounce that word correctly and then add an S to it, simply because people mispronounce it when they speak about it. Oh, look at all the Pukekos over there instead of Pukeko. Look at all the Pukeko plural. That's an odd one.
It's an odd one. And another clip that went very well recently.
As an example, that was the opposite of a clip that goes viral. So now can you go to one that does?
Oh, no. What you said could go. And that's the beauty of it. You never know if it will go. But we have a very nice one from James Muir. He's a filmmaker and he does the River Watch, controls the water quality in the Coromandel. And he was explaining to us that Maori tradition believes that Maori people believe that the tree, it's like the head of the tree is the mycelium, is the root of the tree, and it's upside down, like it's the feet is the the leaves, and he made a beautiful explanation about that, much better than mine, as you can see, as you can imagine. And that video also kicked off, like there were a lot of engagement and people sharing it. So ALTBAYS is also culture.
I mean, it must be really difficult having your feet up in the air for everyone to see, able to be tickled, birds nesting and pooping and weeing on your feet. It's a hard life being a tree.
What about a 6-week challenge? Is that hard?
So my wife's doing the 6-month challenge and lots of her friends and colleagues, and I have joined on the diet and healthy eating just to make shopping simpler, cooking to be simpler, to join. And
Like
actually,
fuck the exercise, yeah, you're just going for the eating.
I'll just eat different food. I'll be fine.
well, as all my fans are actively tracking, I am now cycling through town.
Yes.
And cycling to work as many days as I can.
Before you carry on with that, yeah, because Eric is already here in the conversation, right?
Let's
Just introduce our
Forgot about
beautiful
that.
guest here
Who is
tonight, Mr. Eric. Oh, and that's the thing. I would say Pampalone.
Oh, I love it. I love
you?
when you say it. It sounds so sexy.
I'm gonna say it again then. Eric Pampalone.
Oh, you make me sound sexy.
I believe it's something like Pampalone, which
Yeah.
is not cool.
Yeah, that's not cool.
So Eric Pampalone.
Yeah, it would have been changed when my grandparents got to the States. They would have changed it.
They pampered alone.
They would have Americanized it.
No, they're cool.
Yeah, so that's the way it goes.
So American man, beautiful man, teacher. Also the owner of Pacific Lawns.
Pacific Lawns, yeah.
Yeah, doing heaps of cool stuff in his life.
I get outside. I do lots of lawns and hang outside all day. Today it was an inside day.
Would you go for a 6-week challenge?
What's involved in the 6-week challenge?
There you go, Robert. Give it to us.
Come on, tell us, Mr. Fabe.
In the 6-week challenge, you set your own goals in consultation with the experts. You go in, you get tested on what your current level of fitness is, what your current goal might be to get to. Because obviously some people might be training for like mixed martial arts, for example, or if someone's just training to lose weight, someone's training to put on weight and gain muscle, just better quality of life.
So have you shared your goal?
My goal is to support my wife because I love her.
Okay.
And support her as in, if she needs to go out and do a session with a group of friends to get fit, I'll very happily support that. And I hate those things. You ruin any time I try and be serious.
What the hell was that?
You ruin it.
What was that?
This bloody button.
It's gonna get better, don't worry.
It
It's
gets
gonna get
worse.
better.
It's the worst
gonna
part
get
of my
better.
job. Yeah, if I can call this that.
So do you tell them your dietary requirements, or like they tell you that it would be better if you could eat those kind of foods or whatever? Like how does it work when it comes to food?
I didn't go to the consultation, but in terms of what Tara and I are doing, the meals are pretty standard in that basically it's have a meal that has a good bit of protein, a good bit of vegetables aside. Avocado is a big part of the meals this first week. Almost every meal has had avocado.
Job bless
Well,
avocados.
they're in season, so
And they're wonderful.
yeah,
So good.
it's good.
And then it's simply don't snack. But if you're hungry, have some nuts, have some fruit, and then at night time have a cup of tea. And then if you need to, have a 72% dark chocolate square. And, so I'll sit there and have a small nibble of this fibrous.
Amazing.
A little bite.
little bite.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It can last you an hour.
Yeah,
Easy.
You just have to keep putting it down in between, or it goes on your fingers, and that becomes the fastest bit of the transition, is just melting in your hand.
Your body was to absorbing it, right?
Yeah, maybe. I think we need a dermatologist for that.
Okay, so are you happy? Are you happy with the way that it's going?
Yeah, I enjoy it. There's a lot of, I can see some tricks they're doing in a lot of dietary things. They always have smoothies. But I think to make people think that they're eating and not just having a drink, they have the protein shake powder stuff in a bowl with 3 things of coconut yogurt. And if you need to smooth it out a bit, add a bit of milk. So you make a thick paste, chop up your fruit, put it in it. And so you have to sort of chew your way through what is essentially just a very dry smoothie. But again, it's the nice flavors of a smoothie, just in real condensed form. So it's sweet, it tastes edible, but it's just having a smoothie.
But
in the dry
it's
form.
just the dry powder.
But yes, but with a bit of coconut.
Okay.
A couple of spoons of coconut.
Yeah,
I
yogurt
don't
spilled
think
through.
I could do that.
Gets creamy, I would say, right?
It does get a bit creamier, but then the idea is that you're having to chew, and so you feel like you've eaten, even though you have a drink of water and you've just had a smoothie.
Okay.
But I guess you've gone through the chewing process. Maybe your habits have been fulfilled. You can now move on your day.
All right.
There you go. And speaking of, are we good for those lower thirds, Taylor? Yeah. So speaking of dietary requirements, and let's talk about cheating when you're on a plane like
cheating.
that. Yeah, because tonight it's definitely a cheating night,
God,
right,
yeah.
Mr. Roberts?
It's not a cheating night. It's a night of a free choice. They do recommend eating healthy. My definition of healthy is eating quality local cuisine. Slice, slice, baby.
Slice, slice, baby. So shout out to our beautiful friends from Slice, Slice, baby. Woo! Do we have the audience here with us to clap? No? So we're gonna do it again.
Just us.
So we're gonna do it
No
again.
one.
Just us. Okay.
So these guys are
yay!
they were asleep.
Where did they come from?
Eric's.
Yeah, behind the curtain, man.
So our beautiful friends from Slice Slice Baby shouting out some beautiful pizza, beautiful kai. We have the vegan options, and they also sent us a beautiful salmon pizza here tonight. So shout out to Mike and all the beautiful people, amazing team, sourdough based pizza.
And thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, Mike.
Sent a nice beer to Rambo, our friend here. It's Eric, as known as Rambo. He said, send it to my friend. He's going to love this beer. So if you're coming to the Coromandel or if you live here, check them out, Slice Slice Baby NZ on Facebook. And online, we're gonna have their logo and their websites on our beautiful screen. So make sure to support the team.
We actually met somebody from Kapiti, down Kapiti Way, down by Wellington, and they were caravanning through, and they stopped at Slice Slice Baby, and he said this is the best pizza he's ever had.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He's just come out of the psych facility. He's schizophrenic. He's also lost his memory a lot. There
All
were
five of them.
incidents.
Yeah, all five of them. They all loved it.
There's actually a coincidental, like serendipitous, they all arrived there at the same time to have this shared experience.
But again, thanks, Mike. My friend Eric, when was the last time you went to America, bro?
Let's see. We were. Let's see. It was 2019. It was just before the outbreak started taking hold in China.
Which outbreak, sorry?
Oh, the COVID-19.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Right,
You know,
right.
the COVID-19.
And when you first left the country,
Yep.
who was the president?
Oh God. I think it might have been Bush. I think it might have been Bush.
You first left.
Yeah, I think it might have been
Junior.
Bush Senior.
Senior?
Yes.
Ooh.
I think it was. It was a long time ago. It was a very long time ago. So we've been here for over 30 years.
Far out.
Yeah, Fiona and I. Well, Fiona's born here. She's a Kiwi. Wow, I say she's a Kiwi. She's actually from Wainuiomata. So some of the listeners will know what that means. She's actually more than a Kiwi.
What does it mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Wainuiomata. It's a suburb outside of Lower Hutt, outside of Wellington. And if you're from,
why are you more?
Why you more?
oh mate,
Yeah.
they are Kiwi as Wainuiomata, hardcore,
What,
real hardcore.
nocturnal, long beaked, and like fragile?
Yeah, and nostrils right at the end of their noses.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, no, they're just Wainui is a real not really rough. It's just a real working men's place. Lots of Kiwi rugby league, jandals, everything about New Zealand is in
Shorts that are too short, too
Oh,
tight.
God, oh yeah.
Oh, the men only.
Oof.
It's snowing and everybody's wearing their shorts. and
I
it's
think
all
wearing
good,
I think wearing your pajamas out in public was made popular in Wainuiomata.
Well, onesies around there? No wonder.
No onesies, no onesies. But they did have the slippers, the tiger slippers. They had those, the fluffy tiger slippers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
There you
Quite
go.
comfy.
Was it easy to let go of your country, your people, to come to New Zealand?
It was. We were when I met Fiona. We were in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it was a very industrial place, very big industrial. And to be fair, it smelled funny a lot of the time because it was so, I don't know, it was just big, just a big city. I think it was probably about 2.5 million people, which at the time was more than New Zealand had. And I spent 4 years there at university, and I really didn't want to stay there. So that made it real easy to come here. Plus, you know, I had to follow my love, so
Yeah, good man.
so that made it even easier.
Yeah, so what drew her over there? Like, how did you meet her to have that pull?
Okay,
I think
so-
I know some of these parts of the
Yeah,
story.
so Fiona and I both went to University of Cincinnati to go swimming. So she left here to go swimming, and I left my home state of Montana to go swimming. And so we met in the pool, and we lived in the same dormitory, and kind of ate dinners, lunches, breakfast together, and swam, and we were together a lot of the time.
Would you do like open water swimming as well?
No.
Because you're in a big city, right? So like you see, like we went to the big city to go swimming.
Yeah, well, that's really what it was. But I mean, it was kind of what you did. If you could go on to a school to do a sport, you did it.
Did you get into it when you came to New Zealand? Because so many people here, they just love swimming in the sea and just. Did you ever get into it?
Well, when I first got here, I started at a surf club, and I did that for a while, and that was okay. But it really didn't. Swimming in the water didn't really interest me. Open water swimming. Eventually, I met somebody, and he took me diving, and that was fantastic. But I'd never been diving before. But it was just awesome, just great. Yeah, as soon as I put my head under and I could see, it was fine. But I don't know, just swimming on top of the water, it scared the shit out of me, really.
Yeah, a fear of what could be underneath you.
Yes.
But nowadays, you're not so much scared of sharks, or you're scared of like TikTok users just filming you underneath to sort of spread you online. Yeah.
And then I go viral.
Extra long snorkels. Yeah.
Get that TikTok out of me.
Have you seen that video? The one that the guy, the white what was the name?
The
mako shark
on the front of the boat. Haven't seen the video. Heard a few people talk about it now. Like I heard about it on the show, and then my father-in-law was chatting to that the night. I said, "Oh, you've been in the news with that shark," and I'm like, all these other people know about this thing, but.
Yeah, that would have been crazy having that land on your boat. Actually,
Heavy,
my nephew was going to come up and go fishing with that fella, Churchy, on this weekend, but it got cancelled. So maybe it could have been him.
Wuss.
Cancelled.
Damn.
For those of you listening, it's a pretty big storm. You know, it's been windy, it's been rainy. It's not the worst we've had. Not as many slips as there have been in previous storms.
No, yeah, you're right, but it's been wet.
It's been wet.
Yeah, we've had some rain.
As a teacher, I have this lovely privilege of doing the bus duty. And of all the duties you could do at school, the bus duty in the morning is the best duty ever. Don't tell anyone this, but you get to see the kids and families at their best moments where they're most energized. They're not exhausted. They've just had breakfast. And they get into school and they see their friends and you go, "Good morning, hello, how you doing?" And I get to wave them through the bus bay. Because some cars, without me sitting there waving and bowing, may park at the very beginning, right at the beginning of the bus bay, and then get out of the car and walk around and help children out. And there'll be 6 cars on the road trying to get in that can't get in to let their kids out. So I get to sit there and wave them in, and best part of my day.
And then the afternoon they come out.
I don't do the afternoons. I cannot speak for them.
But then they must be happy that they're going home, right?
They must be, but maybe it's the happy they're leaving you. So you're the last barrier of them to get away from.
Yes. And you tell them to stop and wait.
But yeah, so I was that person today, but the rain was horizontal. So I was very wet, had to go home and get dressed and dry, and it's the first time I had to do that at school. Go home, so I am wet and cold. This is awful. And I went, I live down the road. Like 2 minutes.
There was a lot of rain.
Did you get a qualification as a teacher in New Zealand or in the US?
I got my qualification in New Zealand.
New Zealand?
Down in Wellington.
Did you do anything, did you study anything before, like when you studied in America, did that help? Or it was like from zero in New Zealand that you decided to do the...
No, let's see, they took about half the credits from the US, from that university and applied them to the degree here. So pretty much halfway, which was okay. I was okay with that.
Were you able to work during the halfway study you did in New Zealand? Were you able to work and have an income while you studied, or did you have to pause?
Well, the teaching degree that I did was online, so that was a distance one. It was pretty easy, really. I mean, when I say easy, it was easy to organize my life around it. And then so I kept working. I think Fiona and I at the time were swimming teachers. I think that's what we were doing at the time.
Is that a lucrative position?
A swimming teacher? Well, she owned the business, and I worked for her, so it was very lucrative for me.
Nice. I was going to say.
Smart. What is the best parts of being a teacher and the hardest one?
Oh, Jesus, can of worms, buddy. The best part was I did enjoy being a teacher. I was a teacher for 21, 22 years.
Did you say you didn't?
I loved it.
Oh, you did?
Well, I stayed with it for 22 years. I must have loved it. I wouldn't stay at something if I didn't.
But a lot of people get attracted by the good pay, and sometimes it's a solid job in a place that doesn't provide many jobs. So
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised that some people just kind of stick to it, but it's nice that you loved it.
Yeah, possibly. I think everybody goes into a job when when it's a new job, thinking how awesome it is and how great it is and this and that. I don't think anybody goes into a job thinking, oh man, this is gonna suck shit. I mean, I can't. Why would you do that?
Fair enough.
So, but yeah, I love being a teacher. I did. It just didn't. The lifestyle in Whitianga and being in the classroom, it just something wasn't fitting. Something had to go. So my steady full-time income, good money, breaks over the holidays, that went.
Well, you were putting on a bit of weight while you were teaching, so it's nice
yeah.
to know you've actually trimmed. I think
I was.
you've actually trimmed up a bit.
ALTBAYS Show, honesty at the table. Here we go.
Yeah, I
Keep
definitely liked pizza too much when I was teaching. Well, I like it even better now, but I can cope with it now.
That's good. Yeah. So I remember you, like, when you got into, do you call it, is it lawn mowing, landscaping, gardening, sort of general outdoor handy person? Is there is there something that encompasses that, a title I'm missing?
I'm basically I do, yeah. If it happens outside, I get it done.
Nice.
Really, unless it's too big. I mean, I'm not going to go in and fell 50 trees for somebody because that's just ridiculous. They've got people to do that. So,
Nice.
yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Because every time I see you out there, you have these corded muscles. You started out as this pasty teacher who worked in the classroom 5 days a week, and you got your son on the weekend, but now it's just, oof.
Grumpy as shit. Go away, leave me alone. But now I'm happy. Now I go outside and wander around, and if you want me to come and mow your lawn and look at my guns hanging out, then you're more than welcome to.
That is the one downside to my property only having tiles. I cannot get Eric to mow my lawns.
That's right.
It'll be a real waste of time. I could call you to mow my neighbours.
Yeah.
But I think they've got a man they've had for donkey's years doing it, so you can't break the status quo.
That's all right. That's all right. It's cool. It's okay.
I always think of the American movies where, like there's the guy of the lawnmower. Was it a big thing where you used to live? Like, were you into that job? Were you into like the lawn mowing thing there?
No, gosh, no.
Gosh,
No. No, it was, I was actually riding home from work one day. I was on my bike, going down down Buffalo Beach Road, and I thought, oh, geez, I really need to do something else. I really need to get out of teaching. But what could I possibly do? I don't know. What can I do? What can I do here in Fidia? And there was a lawnmower man, and I looked and I said, I can do that. So I did that.
Good move.
And that was it.
That's great. I remember coming along with you at one point. I think you came to my place and you helped me with, I think I dug out a garden. I got you to come in and help me get rid of some things, move some other bits around, and you were wonderful at the time. But we drove to the dump together to get rid of it.
Yep.
And this is in the days where I think you'd been going for a couple of months solidly.
Yep.
And you'd put branding on your vehicle.
I did, yeah.
And Pacific Lawns, and I couldn't remember seeing other lawnmower or other businesses in landscaping and all that. I couldn't remember seeing them had brands on them. And we didn't drive to the dump. We went down Albert Street, we zoomed around Cook Drive, we had a few circle rounds so everyone could see that brand.
That's right,
and the business just grew and grew and grew. I thought, what a clever thing.
The accountant told me that. She said, make sure you put your branding on the ute.
Yeah, and then you drive past the cafes, everyone looks up and goes, oh, I could get someone to do that. I'll get them. What's their number? Pacific Lawns. What's their name again?
It's easy.
It's very easy.
Yeah. Somebody stopped me. I was driving down the road, and they swerved across the road. They were down Alp Simpson, and he swerved across the road, and he just stopped. And I thought, well, what the hell's going on here? And he got out of his car, and he started pointing at me. I was like, oh, Jesus, I fucked up here.
Yeah.
And he said, I've been chasing you. I want you to mow my lawn. I saw your truck.
Oh, I love it.
Good.
I was like, okay. All right.
Just be calm about it.
Okay. I'll do it.
Did you run businesses before?
No, I've never, ever. I've always, ever been a teacher.
How you find the experience of running a business, dealing with paperwork, dealing with clients, and chasing them up to pay?
So
sorry. Woo!
I love being my own boss. I really, really love being my own boss. I like being the one who makes the decisions and if it all goes to custard, it's going to be my fault. But if it all goes really well, it's my fault as well. So I do enjoy that. And the paperwork and everything else, I've kind of grown into that. Nobody ever taught me how to do paperwork regarding businesses. Nobody teaches you that stuff at school. So that was all something that I had to learn. So I'd talk to people, talk to friends, talk to my niece. Her husband is a electrician, and she does all the zeros all the accountancy stuff. Am I allowed to say zero? Is that all right?
You are allowed to say whatever you want to say.
Okay.
Man.
But the accounting software has been just fantastic.
And there's not only zero, there's a few out there. So like for the people interested, you just do some research and look
HNRY,
at it.
Henry, is also similar.
Oh yeah, there might be others out there, but zero is the one that I use. I just love zero.
My sister worked for Zero for a good couple of years as a project manager of some description. So I think a team leader managing teams, and she did not work ever in she didn't do computing. She didn't do anything like that. She had no idea about the technical side of things. But she'd proved over a long career that she's very good at managing humans and adults and getting people to actually communicate their knowledge and other people to communicate their skills, put it together. I think she worked for a long time, and I think they got like an additional 10-15% of their pay a year in stock in the company.
Wow.
So that was quite cool.
Apparently, it is quite a good company that way.
It's a big company too.
Pacific Lawns is a good company that way too.
Shout out to Pacific Lawns.
Yeah.
They're a really good company to work for.
I suppose so. I mean, are your employees do your employees put in the hard yards, good hours?
Oh yeah. They're hard workers. They are very hard workers. Yeah.
But what do you feel? What do you like as a boss?
I'm an asshole. I really am. I make my workers work a lot. Yeah, but at the end of the day, they go home and they enjoy themselves. They go out for a drink at the fishing club
pizza.
and have pizza and yeah.
You mentioned, Eric, you said that you were mentioning
is this thing on?
It's so
Check.
good.
Is this
It's
on?
so good. Your voice is beautiful. You mentioned the thing like with finances that you don't learn that stuff at school. You went to school in the US, but then you taught in New Zealand.
Correct,
So
yeah.
I believe you got some differences there. You paid attention to different styles of teaching. And I know that people around the world have stereotypes, that will always be a thing. Like, I think it's a shame, but it's just a thing.
It happens,
So
yeah.
people say, oh, Americans, like they're all like, oh, assholes and weirds. And I'm like, all the Americans that I met, I don't know if because they are the travelers ones, so knowledgeable, like witty, like cool people who know stuff. Like, even if they're not, even if they don't do something specific, like they have a cool range of knowledge. I always enjoyed like conversations with Americans, right? So I'm just wondering, like, how is your take like on education in different countries? Like, you don't have to compare them because that's a bit mean, but like by going to one educational system and working in a different one.
Well, actually, when I was working in Lower Hutt, I actually had a scholarship to go overseas and have a look at education. So they actually paid me. They paid my way to go over there for, I think, 4 weeks and just go around schools and have a look around schools around. I think I went to 3 different states and looked at schools, and it was really eye-opening. So this was in the days. It was before computers became really big in the classroom. When people had a computer and it was sitting there, and kids were allowed to use it every now and then, but you went over to the States and they raved about the number of computers they had. They'd say, "Oh, we've got 375 computers in the school," and I never saw a single child using it. I mean, but they had them, and so it was just a numbers game over there. They wanted to promote their school, and they really, really wanted to make sure their school was the best or seen as being the best. But I also know that it's very results driven, and I also know that it's very geared towards you are allowed to learn this, and once you've learned this, then you can go and learn that. It's very, very tiered. But over here, it's much different. A lot of teachers and a lot of educators in schools have more of a tailored learning where a child, if they want to go do this, they go do that, but as long as it's within the framework of doing something else. So it's a much different system. I do like the New Zealand system much better.
Yeah.
Personally. But.
Are there perks or benefits to the other system that you went through yourself? That you could say, I can see how that did benefit me.
Yeah, so things like general knowledge. For some reason, I seem to have a huge amount of general knowledge, possibly because I listen in class and they teach all that crap. So very, very minor details. Like I'll be watching The Chase and they'll say something and I just seem to know some answers, which is weird. I don't know why I know that answer, but I guess I should.
Were there different subject options? Because like now, some schools have 10 languages in different places in New Zealand. You get different wood tech departments, metal tech departments, graphics, visual art, photography.
Yep.
They split into so many ways. From what you saw in your time going back in those 4 weeks, were the options different?
So at high school, I remember my high school years, and I know that it's still the same because a friend of mine has now gone back to high school to be a teacher, and they've got a shop. They've got an auto shop where they teach the kids how to work on cars, how to be mechanics, how to change things. They've got a photography classes. They've got art classes, and there's a lot more vocational training within the school. I know that we do have the plane build here. But in pretty much in most of the high schools that I went to, they have a vocational-based training system. Yeah, and I don't think that's the case in New Zealand. I don't think they have vocation. If you want to go do a vocation, you go to WellTech or you go to someplace else.
Man, I always see Americans saying that, especially Black Americans. Saying, is it right to say Black Americans or you say
I don't know. Afro-Americans?
Afro-Americans?
Yeah.
If it's relevant.
Oh, I don't know. I just want to say it right, especially because I'm talking to an American.
The colors become quite. There's a lot of emotion when you start talking color.
Okay.
I mean, am I a white person or am I just
right? So I'm gonna
just a redneck?
I'm gonna apologize beforehand if it sounds offensive to anyone. I'm just trying my best. Afro-Americans saying that. American history, when taught in school, it's a bit like, ooh, are we actually telling what happened, or we're telling the version of the people who are in power and who kind of like did the things that made the world be as it is now? Looking back, what's your take on like how you were introduced to American history? Hey, wow, I love the laugh.
So, do you know who Custer is? Have you ever heard of Custer?
Colonel Custer?
General Custer.
Was it General, was it?
General Custer. Yeah, so he was glorified for massacring thousands and thousands of Indians. Okay, and at his last stand, he was murdered by this tribe of Indians who they had so many, and they just terrorized this group, and they murdered him. But I mean, he'd just come through, and he was killing a lot of Indians. And so we were presented with a picture of General Custer as being a hero. We always were. I mean, that was what we were given. To this day, I did start to question it after a while, and now I'm old enough to make up my own mind, but yeah.
And how have you made your mind up? For those listening in the States, please listen closely.
Yes, I think General Custer was probably doing his job and following orders, but he would have had a choice to make at some stage.
And he chose to continue.
He did. He chose to continue.
I'd actually heard worse stories about him, that he himself devised certain ways, I can't remember what they were, but he helped come up with different ploys or plots to make sure it was more efficient, more effective and faster, stronger, all this sort of stuff.
In ways to kill.
Yeah, ways to kill, ways to end the conflict,
to maim,
faster.
destroy. Yeah.
And so that he was not only a person following orders, that he was a creator and designer of the destroying.
Yeah.
But again, maybe that's just, some anti-American fake news.
Propaganda.
Yeah, that's
possibly is, but yeah, I mean, I think it happens. I mean, during war times, I think it always happens. I think it's quite rife, but he was always portrayed as a hero. Was he? I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't actually know how it panned out. But
if there was a statue of Custer in a town somewhere that you were, and you've come up with this understanding, where would you be placed in the position of, rip down the statue and defecate on it and melt it and make it into something for someone?
Yeah, I remember when that happened, when they started ripping the statues down of the drinking problem, Leo. Down in the southern states, they started ripping down the statues of these. I don't know. I don't know what they did, but I mean, at the time they were doing. I don't think I would rip a statue down. I mean, it's a reminder of our past, and our past is always going to be there.
So some sort of acknowledgement or some sort of writings under a statue could make a difference then, maybe?
I think if the artist has included that writing, then fine, leave it. But if not, then it's there. It's part of history.
What about the people who says that like when they drive past, they walk past, they feel like that it's not good for the people and it's bringing something back to their memories, that it's a tricky one, isn't it?
Bringing back memories of what?
I don't know, stories that they were
Yeah.
told that character was not good for them, or like, you know, they murdered the grandmothers or whatever, like, and you just have to put up with.
So we should just ignore our past because it makes us feel bad?
Nah, but that's
I would disagree with that.
Oh, no, and I'm not
Yeah.
even saying, like, I'm not even going like, oh, it
Yeah.
shouldn't, but like, I kind of like the idea of some explanation that is non-biased
Yeah.
of the guy. You know, like you just said, the guy murdered a lot of people from this tribe, and he was following orders, and like, I think sometimes he lacks of more information to know who the person in the statue is. Otherwise, it's just like a glorified person that it maybe was not that good for
I
some other people.
hear what you're saying. I think it's just too easy for people to make up their minds very quickly without actually having a full picture.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm getting further and further away.
No, you're good. No, but
beer's over here. Beer's over here.
No, but I get you. I get you. I get you.
Yeah, I think in this, because we've got so much knowledge at our fingertips, we just look at this article. Oh yeah, I believe this. I believe this, and our mind wasn't made up then. We just read this and that's it.
I think
Yeah.
from a different angle, the amount of places I've been able to travel, I'm very fortunate to have been able to travel in my life. I've been to China, been to Europe, Europe twice, UK, I've been to Egypt. Just some funky, odd stories, lived in Rarotonga. And when you go to those countries that have the tourist spots, there is certain cities or towns you go to, and there's been money spent on them, in that there'll be a series of statues. And around those statues, they'll have then built these photo boards, the information boards that were developed 10 years ago instead of 100 years ago. And they'll tell the full narrative from, here are the dates and facts where these people arrived at these and they did these things. They were hailed and famed at the time due to how they did da-da-da-da-da. This stays here as a memorial of blah-da-da, and the descendants have... So they tell a big story, the whole narrative, and that they get the facts at the time. They'll have a news clipping from the time. They talk about this is what they thought back then, or this is what happened back then. And now it stays here as a reminder, and the local whatever, so that the tourism industry or the local council that have invested the money and resources or time to set up those possibly contentious histories, but they actually make them engaging histories. Because I go there and travel going, wow, listen to this whole story. This is insane. And then you can look it up yourself and find the hatred articles and the liking articles or whatever it is. But
but you're a learned. You're an educationalist.
Shucks.
Right? You're an educationalist.
I'm blushing.
Yeah. So you can look at all this information, and then you can go and find some more information. But some people will just drive past that statue without looking at the narrative and say, he's a bastard.
You know, it's interesting. There was a statue in Hamilton, what's that town? What's the centre?
Center of the Tron.
In the centre of the Tron.
Does it have a centre?
Just off Victoria Street.
The epicenter.
We have a square. I can't remember the name of it now. And there's a little statue near outside the council building, and it's gone. And I think it was of one of the Hamilton. It was in New Zealand. Hamilton, not the Hamilton from the States. And they tore it down because he committed war crimes in different places.
Yeah.
And they tore it down. I said, but I grew up with that. My history was having that as part of my landscape.
That's right.
But I didn't know that bad stuff. Well, now I don't have now I don't even remember the name. I have no opportunity to go see that and find out the new story. In an experiential way, where I can go there and see this little mini statue of a man that I'd seen my whole life.
Yeah.
So for me, had they added like a lovely blurb everywhere, they wouldn't have to change anything on the statue.
Well, or even acknowledging the other people, because there's another thing that I notice all the time. Like, you usually have a white guy on a statue because he made something that made more money and signifies something to people who could actually make a statue. And then the people who were great for the communities or did cool things, like, but they were not white or whatever, like, you don't see a statue.
So you've started a new campaign for me, and I love it. More money for more statues.
It's them too.
No.
Them too.
Is it the them too movement?
Them too.
Them too. I think it would make more sense to like give acknowledgement to the people who did something important for the communities, you know, like not just for the ones who were killing it, and like it's always someone holding a gun. I think it's fucked up. You know, yeah, exactly.
Quite
Isn't
often
it
is,
fucked
yeah.
up?
Yeah,
It's always
'cause-
the power. It's always like, oh yeah, I killed more.
Look at
I
me, look at
conquer.
me.
Yeah. Oh, how do you say divide and conquer? Like I was the one who did all these things for you guys, and now we can complain about the other people because they are on the other side of the imaginary line. So, fuck them. I got the gun. Like it's like a big cock kind of thing. Like men who are being insecure. Like I just don't fancy the idea of statues. Sorry.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
No
for
more
that.
statues.
Lovely diatribe. Loved it.
Did you? Sorry. Unless it's a cool statue of like I don't know, someone who.
Calm down, buddy. Just settle down. You're going to blow a gasket.
It's the water.
That's going to be it.
It's the
It's
water.
the water. What's in the water tonight?
It's a special water.
Did you take the lid off the bottle for a couple of hours
I
beforehand?
love the thing with museums, like we had Bex Cox here coming and telling us like the real stories, and you're like, you can go to those places and
See it.
and see it, and it's there,
Yeah.
and it's known by us. You have the story there, and you come up with your own judgment of the thing, right?
Yeah, and I think that's really lovely. There you go. I put it out there. I think it's lovely.
It is lovely.
Because
Have you been to the museum? If
for
you
someone
Yes,
to
I
learn.
have. I have. It's a great place. I loved the museum.
Do you like the butter churner?
I don't remember the butter churner.
it's the biggest
Right in the
thing
center.
of
It's the
thing.
giant thing. Right in the center, just on your left. It's the big machine of. Next time you're there, hit the button and
We'll
you
take
turn
it
it
in,
on,
man.
and you
Okay.
turn on the butter churn, and you think
We'll
this is
take it in.
We'll go.
insane.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, the vegan's going to come in and learn how to churn butter.
It'd be
I
like a
did,
day.
I did.
Yeah, we see that's the kind of thing we learned at primary school, how to churn butter.
Really?
Yeah, we used to make butter
Right.
and cheese. And cheese.
Shout out to the Americans.
Yeah.
That's why you guys love cheese, because
Butter
you
and
learn at
cheese.
school.
Love our dairy products.
Ugh.
You don't
So-
do dairy anymore, eh, Roberto?
No, I'm off.
Yeah. Speaking of
yeah?
of going off things, how's that beer?
It's very nice.
Michael at Slice Baby
Yeah.
sent us that.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Yeah, good on him.
it smells very nice. It's sort of a citrusy sort of smell to it.
Did you guys have cooking classes, or you were just learning like these things in like science classes and in making cool
Yeah,
stuff?
I think that would have been a science class that we learned how to do that stuff. That was early years. So one of the classes that I did take, and this is quite funny. I thought it was quite. I've always been amused. Was typing. So
Yes.
when we were at high school,
My man.
we could do typing. Yep. And one of my good friends on the swim team, she convinced me to come. She said, "Oh, let's sign up for typing." I said, "Typing? What?" She said, "It'll be funny. We'll just sit at the back and make fun of everybody." I said, "Okay," because you go into typing to learn how to type so you can become a
Typist.
secretary
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah. And I said, okay. So I sat there at the back of the room, A, B, C, the quick brown fox. So you had all these things to type. And yeah, funnily enough, I got pretty good at it. And it was all girls except me. All
Pimp
girls,
daddy, pimp daddy.
funnily enough.
Pimp.
But I went to university and I was the only one that could type, and I could type everybody's papers for them.
Did you
And
charge?
I did.
Of
In
course.
theory,
My
he
man.
charged.
Yeah.
Hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, so I made a bit of money typing papers. And Kelly upstairs, she was the only one that had a computer. I was the only one that could type, so I typed hers for free.
Did your Hall of Residence advertise? We've got one computer in our building. We're so high tech.
We've got a computer
Yeah.
and a typist. I know. Yeah. So there you go.
The luxuries.
Because nowadays it's all here. It's the thumb, right? It's on the cell phone. It's like this skill of like.
I can't do that. My hands get sore after a while. They're just hanging onto the phone. I'm a single digit typer on a phone.
Do you have a?
Well, I got big fingers. Look at the big
do you have a
fat
typewriter?
fingers.
Do you have an old school classic typewriter? Is that the name?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I don't.
They're cool, eh?
I've got a keypad. Got a keypad.
That counts.
I got an iPad. I can type on that.
I always find that difficult. You don't get the tap. There's no satisfying feel for an iPad. It's just the tap. I like the chicka.
You can turn the clicks on.
Can you really?
Yeah, turn the clicks on.
It's like an electric car adding in the speakers in the engine just to make the but it's just sound effects.
Oh, you also need one of those things. Ka-ching at the end. Ka-ching. Ka-ching. That'd be even better if they had that sound effect on the iPad.
Is it like
Eric.
an ink
Yeah.
splash?
For the kids watching the show, what is the ka-ching sound?
Oh, it's when you do a hard return. Do they know what a hard return is?
No.
Probably not.
Oh. When you press enter, it
there
goes
you
to a new
go.
line.
If you use a Mac, it's called the return key.
Okay.
That might help.
Are you a Mac or Windows guy?
Well, I'm a Mac guy. Yeah.
You're unsure there.
I'm a Mac. Well, I've actually got a Windows machine, but I've always been an Apple guy.
Nice.
Apple Mac, yeah.
My actual my iMac at home has started fizzling out. It's about 7 years old. It's 7 years old now in New Zealand. A bit gutted. It's fizzling away. It's hardware based. I've done the whole reset, redone it all, rebooted the whole thing.
It's a silver iMac?
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
And it's sort of buggered itself. So I've spoken to IT man, and he's going to help me turn it into a Windows 10.
Sweet.
He's only like, apparently that would just, it bypasses trying to use the Mac integrated system and just run the software.
Okay.
So that hopefully speed it up at home, but then
what's the point?
Yeah.
But it'll look cool.
Yeah.
Eric, what are the things that you do in life that you would consider the things that you do for your mental health? Because I was reading some like bullet points and just some like funny articles about like mowing the lawns. I was like, man, we have to talk about a little bit about.
Did you do research?
Oh, a little bit, right?
Oh,
because
wow.
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I kind of stopped because I found this funny one that the guy says, "It's a great moment to think about life." So that's actually how I put on the description. I like, is it a burden for you or is it a time to reflect and think about life? Because I've heard people saying that, like, when you get into those mechanical things that you just focus in one thing, it's a good time to think or to let go of things like so. Because for you it's a profession, you very focused on what I'm doing. So that's why I was thinking, like, what is the thing that kind of puts you on that zone of like, nah, this is me, this is my therapy, and now we're talking about the typing and the swimming. Like, so what's your outlets? What's
my outlet? So exercise is my outlet. Fortunately, doing what I do in the outdoor situation, I get plenty of that. So when I get home in the evening, I'm shattered. I'm tired, obviously, because I've been walking around all day, and I feel fresh. I feel good. And the next morning, I wake up and I think, oh, good, I get to do it again. So every day I get to go out and just enjoy, being outside, and it's fun. I was doing some line trimming the other day, and when you're line trimming, head down, cruising around, and bang! There was this little baby bird, and it was sitting on a piece of wood, just looking up at me as I was line trimming around it, and I nearly hit it, and I thought, oh, okay, that's quite nice, and it just gave me a bit of a moment, and I thought, oh yeah, this is good. And then I scared it away, shoot it away, and kept going. So that was good.
Oh, beautiful.
Gone. Now fuck off.
And that's the thing. It makes so much sense for us, like as humans, to be outdoors. Like to do that thing. Like that's one of the beautiful things. That's why I started with the thing of being grateful and saying beautiful things about Whitianga, because it really changed my life. Like I told this story, but I don't care. I'm gonna say it again because it's my show.
I don't know if I've heard it.
My mom's got arthritis, so doctors will push pills and all those dodgy ways of like trying to fix something that they're not fixing anything. And then I was doing some basic research on like natural ways, what could help, and I came across an article that was talking about earthing, walking bare feet, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That helps, right? It makes sense. And the surprising thing for me was Mom was not worried about, because like in Brazil it's not a thing. It's dirty and it's it's asphalt, So she was not worried about being uncomfortable walking bare feet. She was worried about not finding grass.
Oh, the dirt.
No, not finding dirt.
Okay.
Because it was all concrete in São Paulo, like all the places around where she lives. She was like, oh, cool. Where should that was it, and I was just like, for 1 second, I was like, whoa, wow. Yeah. So when you say those things, like when you tell those stories and I see you around and I'm like, that's what we're meant to do. We have to be outdoors, like that. There's these things like with neuroscience now saying that like first thing you do when you wake up, open the windows, have a look outside, get the sun, like that really kicks in, like that gets things moving.
Get your serotonin going.
Just a note, just don't look directly at the sun. That's not advised. At the sun. Not advised.
It's not good for the retinas.
No. It's interesting you talk about exercise and the outside, because there's an outlet as a muso I want to sit and play on an instrument. But generally, that's an inside activity. If I play piano, or for you drums, for you guitar you can take outside pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
Your
Easy.
neighbours are going to be pretty fucked off with the drum kit. And the piano, mine is,
Might be one drum.
I think mine is 235 kilos. It's a bit of a hassle to take out onto the deck.
Yes, I'd know the neighbors of one of the, I think he's the drummer for one of the local rock bands.
Oh, yeah.
And they get a bit hacked off, yeah.
Because, bring it out of the deck.
I think you might have been a singer in that band.
All right.
Yes.
Oh, really? So they're not fans of the drumming.
Not fans of the drums.
God damn it, people.
No.
Because today I went into your room because Leo's not at work on a Friday. He works his full quota in the 4 days, busy as heck. And his Fridays, he's absent. So I can steal the drum room. And I went in there for 10 minutes.
Nice, isn't it?
If there's someone who I would allow to be in charge of my drums room, it's not Fabian. No, I'm joking.
And so I
Definitely Fabian.
So I
without a
ignored
doubt.
that. I went into the room and you showed me some drum rolls.
Drum rolls!
And I sat there for about 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes, just trying to find out the groove.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, my elbows are poking out, put them in close. And I was trying to get in my groove. And eventually I went, I've done the 10 minutes. So I started playing just a groovy beat and trying to put in the drum buzzers. I thought, this is really fun. And I actually got a compliment about half an hour later. Someone was like, hey, I didn't know you were playing drums anymore. This is really cool. You sounded really good. And I'm, oh, that's wonderful. But I couldn't do it outside. Conversely, I've heard other people talk about how people just feel like they need to go out and do exercise. Because for me, the drumming was exercise. I was sweating. I was a mess.
Of course.
But that a lot of people can't go outside like your mum. So they go to gyms. And gyms is so they run on a treadmill, they bike on a exercise cycle. And they'll do all these sorts of what would be a risk-taking activity outside. You go outside and you do a mountain run or a mountain bike, and there's inherent risk and danger in the natural environment. So it's a focus thing. Your whole experience is different to that of put on some music so you're distracted, or try not to look in the mirror, or look exclusively at a muscle in the mirror. That idea of inside activity versus outside. What would the drumming experience be like outside? Would it be listening to your environment for native sounds and combining? Like, how would that change the focus of an instrument session?
Interesting. It reminds me of a movie I saw once. I think it might have been Rocky IV, where we had Dolph Lundgren training inside, and I think it might have been Rocky training outside.
It might have been him. I think he was dragging logs and running through the snow, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's the one.
And he was in that little shitty hovel.
Do you like the little segue we made
here? It was a great segue.
Absolutely, so good.
Yeah. Okay.
Who are your heroes? Your American actors? Your favorite ones?
I think I should tell Adrian. Yeah,
I think
he's not one of my. He's not one of my.
I think that was more Elmer Fudd.
Rambo. You mentioned Rambo
Wabbits. Where's the Wabbit?
It's more Adrian.
I don't know why, but I bought the pack with 6 DVDs of Rocky Balboa at some stage in my life. I don't know why, but I did. I always liked the movies. They were
great
good
soundtrack.
movies.
Great soundtrack, man.
And the first one is amazing. It's a great movie.
Sylvester Stallone. He was always he probably was one of my favorite actors. I mean, he was just he was really in my high school years. He was coming into his own. So. I mean, as a high schooler, you kind of look at these actors and think, oh wow,
look at those cigars. Whoa.
Oh, check him out! Look at the guns, and his muscles as well.
Do you know how many people they killed in that movie? It was the Rambo thing, wasn't it? Because you're Rambo by coffee cup, but I think Rambo sort of advertised that more than 400 kills in Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then more than 1,000 people killed in the next one. It's just these massive numbers. And then I think there's the Charlie Sheen. Comedy,
the takeoff.
Yeah, the hot shots.
Yeah.
And in Hot Shots, he's just sitting there with a Gatling gun, just shooting through this imaginary village type thing. And all you see is a tally comes up, and just rolling over the amount of people he's killing. Ding, 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 maximum destruction or something.
How many guns did you have in America?
I didn't have any guns.
Did you know anyone that did?
Yeah. So I would go out hunting with friends, and we would shoot guns, and I knew lots of people that had guns. I don't think Mum wanted guns in the house.
Can I rewind that? You went out and did those things.
Yes.
What had you done prior to do that safely?
Oh, we all went. Actually, Mum required all of us boys to go. I had 2 brothers. I have 2 brothers, and we had to go and do a hunter safety course.
What does that entail? Like, is that a big thing?
Well, we did it when we were 14, and you go to these classes. I think there were like six classes over a 6-week period.
14.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then once you do that, you maybe even 13. Once you do that, you get your gun license.
So you were 14 going, you could walk into a gun store at 14 at that time.
Well, I guess I could have.
Did you still need an adult? Like, I mean,
I don't know.
I'm assuming it's 18 now.
Don't be presumptuous. Look, I do know that I was driving at 14 and a half. I had my full license at 14 and a half.
Do you like the idea of the country allowing people to have guns?
I'm not a fan of the. I don't like the idea that people say, "Oh, it's my constitutional right to have a gun," because it's actually an amendment to the Constitution, and just like any amendment, it can be difficultly repealed. I don't like the people that stand behind and said, "It's my right to have a gun." Well, it's also your right, your responsibility to use it appropriately. But there are people that don't do that. So I don't like the idea of taking away somebody's gun, but I also don't like the idea of having an AK-47 assault rifle sitting in my hands. I don't think that's necessary. That's just a killing machine.
I've heard a few things
I like that.
about gun laws and gun policies, in that the statistics in the States of gun violence and gun fatalities, the vast majority is pistols, concealable, easy to conceal weapons, and not these large AK-47s or these rifles or whatever the new name they talk about in the news. And that those events that make our headlines and travel are by far they are the minority. And that there's so much more concealable handgun crime.
Yep.
And you go, well, you're right, like, it's not a hunting weapon. It's not really it's close combat, What's the justification for having those around? Would you want your police? Because you want police to have weapons in an environment where you can't control the weapon distribution.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it becomes the biggest, strongest idiot.
The person with the biggest gun.
Or the bow and arrow. But you remove the guns from the police, all of a sudden the police are overrun.
Yeah.
You remove guns from everyone completely, and then all of a sudden it's the biggest, strongest doofus person is strong enough to beat people. And how does a weak person, how does a woman in her own home defend herself without a gun? You can't say that it's just jiu-jitsu she needs.
Are you saying women are weak?
Statistically, generally...
sorry, I didn't mean...
They are victims of more crime in that situation. Yeah, you can't shake me. You can't shake me.
I'm not going to watch the show. He said women are weak.
Yeah, go by the numbers. Stop reinforcing it, man. Don't triple down. You never triple down. But yeah, so like that idea of like the gun rights, like sure, it's absolutely your right, but why do you need a right to that type of easily concealable weapon? Yeah,
so I would go out with friends and we would shoot guns, as I said. One of those guns that I shot was a Glock pistol, a 6mm, 8mm Glock, and it was fun. It was great to shoot. It was light and it was small and it was heavy duty and blow the crap out of anything, really.
So you went out and did stuff. Where's the out? I'd love to know that.
Oh, so we lived in Montana. We lived in a town of probably about the size of Palmerston North. And so when I say we go out, we went out into the mountains, the hills. We'd go deer shooting, elk, whatever. We'd go bird shooting, grouse, and So and sometimes we'd take my mates would take a pistol and we just have some target practice.
Not on the elk, on a tree, or
usually it was just something sitting on a tree or a log and just have shots at it. But we'd all gone through hunter safety. We all knew how to be safe around guns.
Were there any near misses or incidents, or like, oh shit, I'm glad that didn't happen?
No.
Oh, good.
No, never.
So sensible.
Yeah, we would go out. I went out hunting pigeons once because there was a lady in a farm that had pigeons in her barn and she didn't want them because they crap on the roof and it gets heavy and eventually so she wanted to get rid of all these pigeons.
How much pigeon shit was there?
There was a lot of pigeon crap. There was like a mound of pigeon crap. It was huge. There was like tons of it. There were a lot of pigeons. Yeah. So she liked us to come out and shoot these pigeons and get rid of them. And it was never...
Was it a feather, like a satisfying, like, pew, just feathers busting? Was it exciting, or was it...
Sometimes it was. Sometimes it was. More often than not, it was just they just fall down from the sky and just land on the ground.
And you've taken a life of a living creature, I see. I suppose you could just mass poison them like other people will do. It's far more ethical, right?
You could. Just throw some 1080 on them. They'll be fine. They'll be sweet.
Do you keep up with what's happening in America? Like, do you still read and try to... Because your daughter's still in America?
Alex is finishing up. Well, she's halfway through a dentistry degree.
Congratulations, Alex.
I know. Be good to have a dentist in the family.
Just have a look.
Yeah, get these choppers.
I got a hole in here. I need to fix.
Actually, Alex, I got a little bit of a tickle right back here. Maybe you could look at it. Anyway.
So when you travel back, can you just bring your equipment with you?
Yeah. Bring your...
We'll pay the freight. We'll pay the freight.
Well, she's coming Christmas time. She's coming this Christmas. Bring your pitchforks and your whatever you use. I don't know what you use.
Scythe? I don't know. They look like
that.
So you do keep up with what's happening in America?
Well,
a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to with the news. It's hard not to. I don't really get too wrapped up in American politics, or I try not to. We've got our own politics here that I get wrapped up in. So,
I guess it was, well, for me, it was pretty hard not to hear about Bolsonaro, our president. So I guess something similar happened with Trump, because every day there was something going on with Trump.
Trump was a great entertainer. He distracted us, New Zealand, I think, a lot. I think he distracted the world. Yeah. Everybody loved listening to Trump because he sounded like such an idiot.
And looked like an Oompa Loompa. It was such a great combination.
Yeah. Quite orange, wasn't he?
So orange.
Yeah.
And then I love how it was like the...
What do you get when your president's a twat?
Twat.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
I like to believe that people are getting...
Who do you blame for that? The mother and the father.
I don't like the look of it.
I believe in people, Eric, but sometimes their stupidity really, really fascinates me. I'm just amazed how we chose Bolsonaro and Americans chose Trump. I don't think they could look after a fucking turtle without losing them or doing something better than that. And there they are.
And turtles are pretty hardy.
I was going to say, that'd be an amazing...
Turtles are pretty...
to be a leader of a country. Now, which animals that are beneath you in the food chain have you cared for over a period of 3 years independently without any assistance?
That'd be a great question.
Wow.
Actually, that'd be a great question on the immigration. You know, when you go into the States, are you a terrorist? No. Are you part of any terrorist organization? No. Yeah. Have you cared for any animal lower than you in the food chain? No. Oh, they're out.
Yeah, we don't want you.
They're out.
If you can't look after a pigeon.
Yeah.
Bolsonaro's gone. Trump's gone.
I was going to say, I just heard.
Is he gone? Is Trump gone?
Yeah.
Or is he coming back?
Is he?
Who knows?
What do you think?
I hope not. Actually, for the entertainment value, I think it'd be quite good.
But man,
the rumors of DeSantis, they keep putting that name up there, the new name, the lovely moustache. I gotta say, I'm a fella for facial hair.
So
strike one.
So
I'm quite devoid of it. I had a shave today.
So my take on
actually, it was part of my getting ready for the show. Had a nice shave.
You're looking great.
Thanks.
Well, you see Taylor back there is looking a bit more like Iron Man.
Is he?
The Tony Stark, he's sort of got his little moustache, little goatee down there.
I am Iron Man.
There's a great cover of that song by the Cardigans.
Yeah.
Really? Iron Man. By the Cardigans. It's on the same album. I think it's First Band of the Moon.
Okay.
It's on the same album as they're like, love me, say that you love me.
Do.
What's your go-to, your jam song?
I can play anything on the guitar.
And you can sing on karaoke.
I can. Ooh. And funnily enough, it always sounds like Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Every single song. I don't know why. It's weird. But any song you want.
One day of the year of the fox.
Do you still,
Ronnie James Dio.
Do you still have that video of singing?
Oh, do you want to see it?
After the show.
Okay, I have got it. I still have it.
What is the video?
Oh,
I was so shit.
Tell us a story, my man. Tell me the story.
Alex,
tell Fabian this story.
Yeah, we went to the fishing club.
Yes.
And on Thursday night. It's never good for me to go out after the fishing club on Thursday night because, Anyway, so we decided to go to karaoke just because, everybody said, oh, let's go to karaoke. Okay, Thursday karaoke at Smitty's. Good time. If you haven't been, you make sure you go.
Smitty's.
And
Thank you, Vegas.
So we did. And somebody convinced me that I needed to get up and have a bit of a song. Thanks, Leo. And Alex at the time, she was here. She said, Dad, this will be so great. We can sing John Denver. Country Roads.
What a moment. Say your daughter's
we can
here.
do that.
You don't know when it's going to happen again. What
Yeah,
a
we can
moment
do
to
that.
sing a
You
song.
see, for me, you're telling a story about karaoke, and I go, okay, here it's going to be good. And now as a parent, I'm going, now there's like triple the regret. There's triple the and they saw me, and our relationship is now.
I said,
at
Alex,
risk.
no, I don't know. I have to live in this town. She said, nobody will care. Come on, it'll be fun. We'll be good.
It was good.
We were shit.
It was good.
I was crap.
Did you sing in harmony?
No, I froze. I got up there. I was like,
It was pretty good.
yeah, I lost it. I just lost
hear
it.
a voice in the morning as she calls me. Radio reminds me. Beautiful.
Home far away.
Driving down the road, I get the feeling that I should have been.
God,
Yesterday,
please, no.
yesterday.
Thank you, Steve Carell.
Country road,
Country road,
take me home.
Take me home
to the place I belong.
Stop, otherwise we're going to get the copyright thing.
Oh, yeah,
we got to stop
the song's
there.
over. Here you go. They won't.
It is true.
They'll monetize it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got the charges for that. Did you go to some cool concerts in America?
We in Cincinnati, we did have quite a few people come through. My wife and I went to Billy Joel back in the day.
Cool.
Oh my God, how awful was that? It was such a crap concert. Honestly, I'm sorry, Billy Joel, if you're watching. I know that you do tune in quite often, but
It was bad.
Yeah.
Oh, when was this? Like, what, are we talking 42nd Street album, or are we talking 90s, or are we talking 80s, 70s?
It was 80s, 80, 88.
Was this that whole sort of period
88?
of time?
I was born
we didn't
in
start the
88.
fire era where it got a bit more poppy.
And we went to Lexington, Kentucky. If you haven't been to Lexington, Kentucky, make sure you don't go. And there we were, and we got these tickets, and we sat, and we were behind, honestly, a pillar. There was a pillar in front of us, like a huge, like a big supporting pillar, and we
You bought them. They were scalped outside, and you got these discount
How
tickets,
cheap
didn't
was
you?
the tickets?
Oh, they were expensive. Back in the
damn.
day, they were like $40, which was a lot of money back then. And it was way we could see him there. We could see his piano, and he was sitting at the piano. He sat at the piano the whole time.
It's bloody piano players.
And
eh?
it was just, that's all he did. He sat at the piano, and we saw him sometimes because we had to. It was just not good. But I did also go see the White Stripes, and that was a cool one.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, that was cool. White Stripes.
I'm really disheartened. It was
I
brilliant.
like White Stripes.
The White Stripes was
You're not a White Stripes fan?
Oh no, I do. I just think like the Billy Joel, like the fact that it was so bad. I've not bought tickets to go to him this year because he's past his heyday. I love the Billy Joel I grew up with, which is records spinning and me sitting there trying to play along.
Uptown Girl, you know. I think
Maybe
that
not
was
that one.
I think that was part of that album, Uptown Girl. I was expecting to see Uptown Girl. I was expecting to see Christy Brinkley.
Yeah,
I
you're
was
gonna say
waiting
like,
for Christy.
where's the dancer?
Yeah, where's Christy?
Where's the whole choreographed dance?
Is she coming on?
Maybe your expectations were too high, my friend.
It's hard though when you get a name like Billy Joel.
Yeah.
You go, okay, this is one of the top piano player, vocalists, songwriters of all time. It's hard not to put the expectations high.
I know. But my first concert that I ever went to go see was Huey Lewis and the News.
Oh,
Cool.
I love
I
Huey
like
Lewis. He's a great songwriter.
Power of Love, mate.
That's
Power
the
Love.
power of love. Do, 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 do. That's the power of love. He's got such a manly voice.
I know.
Love it.
But there you go. Huey Lewis. That was it.
Are you a mosh pit kind of guy? Like you like the...
No, I have to be really drunk to do that. And then it's not pretty anyway. So
It's like it's karaoke.
yeah, it is. See, that was the problem with that karaoke. And then beforehand, Alex said, "Oh, come on, let's get pumped. Let's go have some shots." I was like, "Oh."
This makes everything better.
Alex. So we did.
You can't say no, hey, when your daughter says, let's have a shot and sing a song. Hey, you
No,
just cannot, right?
No, you cannot
Bonnie
say
will
no.
say that one day. You be ready, my
you
friend.
never say no to your daughter,
Actually, I've got two stories where to go.
unless you have to.
Went to Tara's family Christmas. My wife's family Christmas. I mean, 8, 9, it must be 10, maybe 10, 11 years ago with Tara and I, down in Palmerston North, and you know, they're all Happy New Year, everyone, woo, and they give everyone, was it Contrail, the sort of the orange liquid, and sort of Tara and I was like, cheers. And then we realised everyone else had sipped, and Tara and I just go, whoop, and the whole room was looking at us. We're like, hi guys, I'm the new guys, just come to your family, and I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah, let's go. I just halfway through that story, I realised Fiona's probably watching this.
Yes, you may. Also, you talked about the disappointment. I went and saw Tim Minchin, Australian comedian, piano player, and I absolutely love him. He writes some of the most inappropriate but well-meant songs ever.
I know that sound.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's a good sound.
Duff Man.
Hey, Duff Man, must drink beer. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
So I went and saw Tim Minchin, and he's a person I listened to. I found him at high school on YouTube, and I was like, this is amazing. And I've loved his whole career since. He's written the music for Matilda. He's done a lot of things. Groundhog Day, the musical. Anyway, and I went to his gig in Auckland. I was like, this is going so well. And then I realised at one point, I was like, he's just sitting there playing piano. And I was a bit like, oh, it's a bit naff. And then about the fifth song in, the back curtain just fell away, literally theatric style. The back curtain dropped. And there's a 7-piece band there, light show, bang, and the song continues. They're like, oh, hell yeah, now we're talking. We're talking percussionists and tambourines and dancing. Oh, cheers, yeah, thank you very much.
Oh,
and it just changed the whole venue. I thought, I love these songs, but I'm sort of just watching him play piano. And then it became a big, interactive, epic show. But yeah, that experience of just watching a piano player play can be very down. Yeah. Very disheartening.
I mean, it was just disappointing.
It's like
but anyway.
It's like when you came to see me at the Lost Springs sometimes. You're like, oh, we're going to go see Fabes. And you're like, there he is. So let's have a drink and talk about other things.
No. I always love coming to watch you. Always love it.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah.
It's nice to have top players in a small town, isn't it? Look at this guy.
Yeah. And Fabian, whenever he plays, whenever you play, whenever Stu plays, whenever you guys play, you know I'm going to be there.
It generally seemed to bring a crowd, which was nice. I had the same sort of...
there's no other option, so...
I know. What else are you going to do?
God,
stay home?
Yeah.
In this small town.
What should we do tonight? Go watch Fabian or stay home? Something else. Something will be on Netflix, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm not on Netflix, so you won't find me there.
You're on Spotify. Tell us about your Spotify profile. How do we listen to your tracks?
I'll give you the backstory. When I was a young man, 11 years ago, I recorded an album, released it.
You're so old.
That's the end of the story.
I know,
you find my album on Spotify. My name is Fabian Roberts. The album is under the name Fabian Roberts. Actually, the album cover, my friend Sang Po is an amazing visual artist. You know, I think he lives in the States somewhere with a lovely bridge. The Golden State Bridge, where's that?
In San Fran.
There he goes, in San Fran, in the postcard. I think that's where he lives.
Mm-hmm.
And he drew this beautiful picture, and my album was called Maybe, and it was a really sad song based on something I'd heard from Debussy, and I was in a musical, artistic niche at the time. And it was such a sad, depressing, maybe if I hadn't fucked the whole relationship up at all these points sort of song. And he listened to it and went, can I write to this song? Can I draw the picture to this song? And he drew a picture, and what you see in the image is two people embracing, sort of holding hands in like what is clearly not a sexual hug or embrace, but it's just like two lovers that are holding each other, and maybe one of them's going to die, or one's leaving, or it's the last time to be together. It's a very intimate moment. And Apple Music would not allow me to use the image because they thought it was too sexually explicit and graphic. You didn't see bum, you didn't see boob. All you saw was back, shoulder, and hands gripping.
Okay.
But clearly it was skin because there was a bit of muscle tone on the body.
Yeah.
That was before TikTok, for sure.
And then Spotify came up with the same issue, and I had to appeal it.
Wow.
And it took ages, probably 3 months.
Really?
Just go, look, it's for one thing, it's art, it's a sketch. I think it was a sketch. So like, it's a sketch of someone's back and shoulder and holding hands. How is this being banned? Like, of all the hiccups to go along the way, it's not, no, your music sucks.
Have you ever... that's what I was about to say. Maybe they didn't like the album.
Maybe
they
like,
used as an excuse. They were like, okay,
we really don't want it here.
Let's get rid of that.
So in conclusion, if you want an album that's not super polished, but it had some nice songs on it, it's on there.
So I'll give you an example of the American education system. Did you know that in San Francisco, around the time they were building the Golden Gate Bridge, they found a new species of seagull? and it had more red on it than the other ones. This is true. And they realized that eventually it wasn't a new species, it was just red paint from the bridge.
That is amazing.
There you go.
So all the seagulls from the local area got painted. They painted themselves
San
on the
Fran
bridge.
is so cool, eh? Everybody says
Isn't that
great
weird?
things
That's the
about
kind of
San
crap
Fran.
that I know. And why do I know that? Why
It's
do I
cool,
need
though.
to know that?
Did they have a name before they worked out it was paint? Did they go like, oh, we've got a new species. We're going to call it the da-da-da-da-da.
I don't know that.
I bet there'd be a
Yeah, they called it the da-da-da-da-da. The da-da-da-da-da.
which is Latin for the red seagull. Yeah. Funny how that works.
Did you travel a lot around America? Because it's such a thing, eh, for tourism. Like, oh, I want to go and do like a road trip, Route 66 and 66 and all that stuff. Did you do a lot of traveling there?
We did. So basically, in Montana, I think we traveled a lot more because we lived in Montana, because the population of Montana was
2.5 million.
Thank you. It was so small, Montana. No, not too. It's probably smaller than that. The population of Montana.
Oh, yeah.
Cincinnati was big.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about
Ohio.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So Montana is a very big space, very small towns. So for us to go do anything, we had to travel. I mean, if we wanted to go swim or compete at another school or somewhere, we had to travel. So we did actually travel quite a bit around the western states. But every summer, my mom used to take us to summer camp. Mm-hmm. I think she did it to save money, because if she went to summer camp with us three boys, she didn't have to pay for them, and she didn't have to pay for us to eat, which was the big thing.
Fair enough.
And so she got paid, we got room and board, we had fun, she had fun. It was win-win-win.
Dodgiest place in America you've been to?
Iowa.
Why?
Oh my God.
Yeah?
So my memory of Iowa. So we were actually on our way to summer camp, and it was hot. It was muggy. I was tired. It was like 5 a.m. We'd been driving all night. So that was back in the days when you could sit in the back of the ute. We had a canopy over it and a mattress, and we would sleep in the back while people drove in the front.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So super
That's
safe.
so you.
Carry on.
Super safe.
Carry on.
Yeah, and we had no seatbelts in the back either. But there we were, and I.
Did you have Wi-Fi?
What?
Shush.
No Wi-Fi. And so I remember waking up, and it was stinking hot. And I was hungry, and I was tired, and I dangled my feet over the back of the truck and got out and stepped in a puddle, and I was like, "Frick, man, this sucks. This is Iowa." And that's my memory of Iowa. That's it. That's Iowa.
How you define a dodgy place?
Dodgy place.
I was expecting that shit in having a pool of blood from an animal or a human. Like,
No.
that was the story.
That was it.
Right. There you go.
No, when we were at university, we used to go down to. Yeah, it's getting warm. It's getting hot in here.
So hot.
So take off. Oh yeah. So
So musical.
My brother-in-law, Fiona's brother, came to visit us in Cincinnati, and he said, "Oh, let's go to that place down the road. I saw it on the way in. I was on the bus, and it's so okay. We'll go." And it's called the Curve Cafe. And as soon as you leave the university in Cincinnati, it's very, very poor, very low socioeconomic. The university is set in this low socioeconomic area. And so we started walking down the hill, and it started getting dodgier and dodgier. I mean, it was quite a dirty place anyway. And we walked in, and it's just like a doorway with Curve Cafe over the top, and the reason it's 'cause it's on a curve of the road. And you walk in, and everybody turned and looked at us, and it was like, and we were the only white people in there. There were 3 white people, all 3 young white people, and everybody else, they were like, and they just stared at us for like 5-6 seconds, and it was like, okay. And then we got a beer, and that was that, and everything was all good.
Good.
And then, funnily enough, we went down to the markets the next day, and there was some guy there, and he was at the bar. He said, "Oh, you them white folks from the bar last night?" I said, "Yes, that's us." Yeah.
Great.
So there you go.
They didn't call the cops.
No, it was fun as.
Oh, good.
We had a great time. It was freaking funny as.
God, that must have been crazy to grow up in a... Because, for my experiences, I've never personally grown up where I've walked into a space and it's been so divided or so segregated or so clearly a different, like, I grew up in Hamilton and there's sort of nothing super special about any part of Hamilton.
Yep.
Most of my friends growing up were Samoan, or I never really cared to find out about where they were from, actually. I just knew them as friends.
Yeah.
But growing up like that, it must have been strange. The divide must have been strange, especially if you look back now.
Looking back
those
now,
stories, do they get sharper or richer in detail when you go, shit, that it was like that?
Yeah, it was like that, and it was actually, and through my schooling years, I mean, you could see it change a lot. It changed dramatically. I mean, I think we were really. They say, oh, back in the 70s it started changing, but I don't think it really did. I don't think it really did start changing. I don't think it started changing until even the 80s. And then it was starting to get okay for people to, wander around with each other. And and we were like, oh, okay, well, there's no big deal here. And there wasn't. And it was okay.
Oh, as in when you came to New Zealand, it's no big deal.
No. When all of a sudden we started wandering around the streets of over the Rhine, they called it, and it was good. It was fun, yeah. And people would chat, and there was nothing wrong. But it had been built up to be this big divide.
Yeah, because there is a big divide in America, right? I
thought you were about to introduce one.
Nah, well, because I think Brazil is quite big as well.
Yeah.
So like these things get quite amplified, like the social differences, and then like it's quite easy to see that race means a lot for that, like it's clear, like you see the neighborhoods and like in the states that are a bit poorer, and then unfortunately color says a lot about those places, and that's the thing for me in New Zealand, because it's small. Sometimes I kind of forget about it, but also, man, New Zealand's quite racist too, eh?
Yeah, it can be.
Can be, eh?
I agree.
And I think it's even worse. I won't say worse. Maybe worse is not the best word, but like sometimes racism is right on your face, and at least you know your enemy. Like the person who doesn't like you. But here, sometimes in New Zealand, it feels like there's a bit like, oh no, it's all good, and then like as soon as you turn your back, like motherfucker hates you. Like so. I wonder if the thing with being small, it's also an opportunity to kind of like pretend that it's all good, but it's actually not that.
Yeah, it could be. See, but in the States, I think the segregation was not necessary, but it was. So you think about some place like Chinatown in New York. I mean, that's segregation. I mean, you've got Chinatown. That's segregation. You got Little Italy. Over in Australia, you've got Melbourne with a Little Italy as well. I mean, you've got these places that are segregated, and they do that to preserve their culture.
So they're not. Do you think that it's not a kind of like a plan that like we're together, and it also attracts some sort of tourism or attention to those places? Nah,
I don't think that was the plan in the beginning.
It's just like
I think Italians wanted to hang out together because they all spoke Italian, and they all wanted to be with people that they knew, people understood. Even
nowadays, do you think it still carries a thing, or it becomes a bit more like, oh no, it's cool to go to the Italian area of the country,
Oh,
like
it is cool. It is cool, definitely. So New York, we went to New York and went to Chinatown, went to, not sure what they call it, the Jewish sector, I'm not sure what they call it. But it's fun. It is cool. It's good.
In Brazil is the same. We have the Chinese part of São Paulo, and it's amazing.
It is.
Just the foods, like the vibe, and you go there for that's like a Sunday morning thing,
That's
like,
right.
let's go to the Chinatown, and it's fun, it's entertaining, but it does make a lot of sense. It probably started for different reasons.
Yep. Yeah. And so people talk about segregation, but in a lot of ways, it's there to preserve their culture. I'm not saying that it's good to be racist
or better or worse than others. It's simply we're different, and that's nothing wrong with it. Because anyone's different to anyone.
But I think New Zealand's small enough where we don't actually have the populations to do that, and I don't think we should, personally.
Did you guys see the thing with 660? Do you know the band 660, the New Zealand band?
Oh, is that a band?
Aotearoa band. Wow. So they
I'm sorry.
They're touring in Australia. I don't know if I got the whole story right, but like they're touring in Australia, and they made a poster in Te Reo Maori. Mm-hmm. So like it's 100%, Interior Maori announcing the show. And this motherfucker guy from You Love My Story.
Hold up. You've tainted the story. Before you put your opinion on it, give him the blanket version, the facts.
So the reporter from Sky, Australia, Sky News, whatever, like he was giving them so much shit for putting a poster in Australia in a language that is not in an Australian like official language or whatever, like, but wouldn't apologize. Like he was very harsh. Like, why this?
What a motherfucker!
What a motherfucker! No.
Oh, so he made up his mind. There you go.
So again, like some bands, some artists, they get to this point, this amazing point of doing cool things. Imagine what a pleasure, you know, for you to represent your country anywhere in the world and say, you know what, I'm gonna put some posters in English there, but then I'm gonna put some posters in Interior Maori there because my fans will find my tickets and they will come and follow. But I want to put my culture out there, and why not? And then you get criticism, and you're like, come on.
To me, the idea of criticizing it is just, okay, don't go. Just
Don't
Yeah, that's
go.
right. Yeah, who cares?
like what? Like you're so upset about it. Like to me, I sort of think for that host, is everything all right at home? Have you spoken to your mother lately?
Are you okay?
Spend some time, like, Mum.
How is your relationship
how you
with your
doing?
mother?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There could be an underlining theme there. Like maybe he doesn't like Te Reo Māori. Maybe he just doesn't understand. Maybe he's dyslexic. Maybe he grew up and he battled through dyslexia, and now they're using these symbols he's grown up with, and they're messing with the system. Give your mum a call. Your mother should know.
Yeah, I see that there's a lot of people. Well, not a lot of, but there's some firms making redoing animated movies into Te Reo. Right?
Frozen.
Yeah, I mean, good on them. I have no issues with that. If they want to do it, great. If you want to make a song in Te Reo, fantastic. I probably won't understand it, but I'll understand some of it.
But if someone wants, if it's going to appeal to a market, well, good on you.
I
Nice.
know. I have no issues with that.
But that's the thing. I think because English, it's so prevalent, you know, like it's the most spoken language in the world. So like for you guys, sometimes it's hard to understand what art represents. So like Stu loves this story when I tell him that in Brazil, a lot of the shows, like big classic bands, sometimes the riffs are more popular than actually the chorus of the songs. Obviously, because we don't speak the language.
Yeah.
So we love the songs, but we sing the riff. We sing the guitar part, you know? Like, so that's why they love so much South American crowds, because like they're trying their best to sing whatever raw they think that it is, but they listen to the song as a whole piece of thing. Like they might not address the words, but they enjoy the whole part. And it still was like, that makes sense, because you always see those like classic AC/DC playing in Argentina. They sing all the guitar riffs, like all of them.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the beauty about like languages that you don't know, you know, like they sound cool and you're like, well, I might as well enjoying the sound of this language. I love Te Reo because the vowel sound is the same as Portuguese. It's I, A, O. So for me, like, it's melodic, you know, like I don't understand, but I'm like, oh, cool. I can relate to this. This is nice. Yeah. How is your Te Reo going? Do you speak a little bit, Mr. Roberts?
It's pretty dreadful, to be honest.
So hang on. Are you
Go on.
dedicated to learning Te Reo?
Yeah,
good.
I've had
good.
I've sort of done. Well, I've tried the best to keep up with weekly. Thanks, Sushi, scratching yourself
Thank
over
you.
there.
Yeah.
I've generally tried to keep up with weekly session with Te Reo, and our school has a policy or a goal to try and increase the use of Te Reo generally. I've signed up with Jo Kaho in her language course for next year, just to try and spend more time with someone, because again, it's been doing it myself or doing it with a head of faculty, but neither of us are native, fluent speakers. And because it's such a delicate topic, trying to work and be a leader with normalizing such a language that I've not been born with, the confidence to use it is always the thing you want to be able to build.
It's hard, isn't it? Yeah.
You want to make sure
It's
you're
hard.
not, if you're doing it right, even if you say the right words, it could be the right time, wrong time. It could be to the wrong person. You may be able to say a certain series of words that to you think you're greeting someone in such a way, but that's not how you're supposed to greet me. Oh, bugger, I've got there.
Welcome to my life.
I know. As a second language learner, I mean, it must be. I've got a friend who's South African, and I know that he gets so frustrated trying to figure it out.
Trying to order ice cream.
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
I want some ice cream.
Ice cream.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
What you said, it's a feeling that I had and I still have, but you guys give me a lot of confidence because you know that it's not going to be perfect. You understand that I'm doing my best. So like spending time with people who speak the language, and once you create a bond, like you start to build that trust, you know, like, so nowadays I feel more confident, like, look at what I'm doing. This is not easy to be talking with English people.
Yeah,
you know?
I know. I imagine.
And I know that it's not perfect, but like, well, you guys understand, and you are my friends. And I always ask Fabian, is it all right? And like, I know that you would be straight up to say, that's actually not sounding great. You can do better. And you do it when you have to. But like, you guys understand, right? So
of course.
What you said, it's something that I relate to.
Resonates, yeah. It's so that's exactly why I'm joining Jo next year. So she is Māori and in all respects. So at the very least, if she's the leader, I can follow her lead and take that model. But then, of course, she'll educate me on, because she's a female. So how she does it, she, of course, as an educator, will be able to tailor it for me being a male to speak to other people. And so I'm hoping that's going to be... I'm good with pronunciation. It's easy. I've never had an issue with it. I don't understand when issues arise, because I guess I grew up going to Māori lessons at primary school. It made it easy for me to just be able to speak or read it, even if I don't fully understand it. But I think she's going to make it easier to feel more comfortable going, yes, I'm getting it right, because I've now heard it 50 times in this hour. I'll go home and use it 50 times. And then I'll see you next week. And I'll see you the week after and the week after. And hopefully after a couple of years, I'm never going to get fluent. It's impossible. I can't spend 6 months fully integrated and pay my mortgage.
But give it a go. That's good. It's good on you.
Yeah. Well, I have to. And it's also a why
you
not.
do have to.
It's also a why wouldn't I, in that sense.
Or why shouldn't you?
Yeah, why shouldn't I?
Why shouldn't you?
What's stopping me? Or why wouldn't I do it? Of course I do it.
So for the people at home who are watching your grass growing like crazy, because after so much water, tomorrow might be the most beautiful sunny day ever.
Yep.
So if you want a beautiful, handsome, fit man to come and mow your lawns,
that's what we do. Pacific Lawns Whitianga.
My man.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, big black ute, nice big trailer.
Look
you
for
got
the
a lot
ute.
of gear.
Look for the ute.
Actually, I need to contact you. I want to get some grass to put through my garden, through the compost. I need some green waste.
You want some green, eh?
No problem.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for coming to our show, my friends.
Always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Mr. Roberts?
Mr. Magri? Mr. Pamps?
Final words, do it.
Final word. This show has come a long way in its time. The guests are amazing. The hosts are getting better. The tech team still need to turn off that fucking machine. But otherwise, you're watching ALTBAYS. It's wonderful. It's amazing. Make sure you subscribe, share it with the right people. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday night. Who have we got coming up next Monday?
Wow.
Next Monday, we have Yash, my good friend, manager from Salt Restaurant, the youngest bar manager in the Coromandel. And on Wednesday, we have a very, very special show that I want you to co-host with me, please. It's Brendo Yalovich. I hope I'm saying his name right. He's the wild boy. He was one of the youngest people in New Zealand to walk around the whole country. He's an amazing man. He's on a cool journey. He just climbed like this massive, crazy ice mountain in New Zealand, and we're gonna have an inspiring, cool conversation with him. So Wednesday, book us in.
Right on.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
see
buddy.
You guys.
Always a pleasure. Love it.
Monday,
Cheers.
7 p.m. Peace. That one was wrong. That one was the wrong button for sure.
Are we done? Yeah. Oh my God.
ALTBAYS.